Right.
What
What's
up,
going on?
dude?
How's it going, guys? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me back.
Hey, man, thanks
Yeah,
for coming back,
absolutely.
man. We enjoy having you in here. We've been talking to your brother, man, your roommates. We've had all you guys in here telling us everything going on, bro. So how's the new season going? You feeling good to be back in the flow of things?
Yeah, it's going good. It's nice to be back playing again. We had a nice little short, like month and a half break in between seasons, so that was nice to rest up and get the body recovered. Um, but yeah, we got a couple new players this season. We brought back a few guys, and now we have three new players. One returning player who was on the season that we won the championship, Correa. We have him back now, but we have Alex and Bradley, who are two new guys for us. And yeah, it's going good. It's just kind of learning to. We have a lot of new doubles teams this season, so guys learning to play with each other. We got off to a little bit of a slow start, but I think the last game or two we've kind of turned it around. So yeah, it's going good.
Yeah, that's pretty tough, right? That's what we've been monitoring it from the gambling side of things, all the highlight matches. But we're like, start this season, we're like, hey, listen, we've got some new people that are playing doubles together. It might take them a little bit, and we've seen a couple of them, especially some of the new guys that have just got into the league itself, like Lulu and whatnot.
Yeah.
Seems like they're starting to hit their stride now, about a month in or so. But talk about that a little bit about how just getting used to playing with someone else style. Like Benny was telling us about Hyro, he throws it to one spot, so he has to adjust. That's how
Yeah.
he's gonna throw it there every single time. So I gotta make those kind of adjustments.
Yeah. I think that it's definitely just depends on the player because, like you were saying, there's a lot of players that play more aggressive or have a more conservative style of play. And I think that's one thing that I've tried to work on is to be a little bit more aggressive these past couple seasons. Because with this court, the way that it's set up and it just being smaller, there's less room for error. So, if you just volley, well, we can all catch, but you have to, especially as a front quarter, your job is to kill the point. So I think that's a lot of guys like Lalu or Rutia that have come in this season. And in past previous seasons, we've had Oleron and Lopez and really top players come in. But the problem is, how long is it going to take for them to adjust to the court? And I think that with the guys that are on their teams helping them out and kind of teaching them how to play and what works on this court and what doesn't, I think they've adjusted really quick. I've been surprised how quick Urrutia and Lalu have both adjusted. But when it comes to playing with a new partner, there's some, like for me, I'm in the front, and so the back quarters that I'm playing with, I played with Julian previously, but now we're paired up again this season. And he plays a lot of right side. And so for me, kind of talking to him, depending on who we're playing against, you don't want to throw it right sides to the 5, 6, 7 line and give Gaucher or like a chance up in the front court,
No, you don't.
because they're very
No, you
dangerous
don't.
up there. So that's why, like, sometimes you may have to talk to your partner if you see that they're not doing something right, and vice versa. So
Mhm.
it's
You
a
talk about
process.
the adjustments on the battle court format and all that stuff in the court. What was the biggest difference in what is it? How do you say, is it paralota or
The
parimutual?
the parimutuel side of it, yeah.
Okay, what's the biggest difference with the battle court and that?
I think because it's like a round robin format. So you have 8 posts, you play 1 point. If you lose that point, you go to the back of the line and you may sit there for 5 minutes until you get back up.
Okay.
And you might get cold and there's a lot of sitting around if you're not winning your points. And also, that if you throw a shot out of play, you have to go back and sit on the back of the bench.
Okay.
And you may not get back up that game. So I think a lot of guys play more conservative and it's harder to get into a rhythm. And so in the battle court format, when you're playing partitos like that, well, if you throw a shot out of play, you only lost 1 point. You have more points to play, and you can kind of get into a rhythm and get warmed up rather than playing 1 point, getting cold again. I think everybody would probably agree that the battle court format is much better,
Okay.
and it's just better for the body also.
It seems to be a lot more exciting, man. A lot more action going on in the battle court.
Yeah, no, we enjoy it. It's for us. It's being able to throw shots and not be as um, concerned about losing a point, and just being able to have the confidence to throw it. That's one thing
Right.
that I think everybody's working on. So
How are you liking the new scoring format? Like with the game and the matches now, instead of the points, it's just win, loss, or tie.
yeah,
What's
I think it's good. I think it's definitely going to keep it closer. I don't think it'll with the way it's done now, I don't think a team will be able to run away with it as much as they have previously.
Yeah.
Because
I
even
like
if you win all 6 games that day, you're only going to get 1 point. So
Right.
no matter if you win 4-2 or if you win 6-0, it's the same outcome.
It feels
So
like
it's
keeps it
like
more
for
exciting.
us, yeah, and for us, we've tied 3 game days and we've yet to win one. But we've tied 3, and so we're there hanging around. So as long as you continue to tie and win some game days, you should, hopefully stay in the
Yeah.
standings.
Yeah. It gives you, even if there's like a month left, of the season, if you
Yeah,
can just string together a great highlight for that month and win 4 of those matches, you should be in the mix at that point if you can win 4.
100%.
So you still have hope. Whereas like I remember last season, the Devils, they got off to such a slow start, but then they really kicked it on at the end. But they were just too far behind to really sneak into the playoffs there. Whereas with this format, I feel like they definitely have a spot. How do you feel about the because last season it was doubles was worth 1.5 points. Now every match is just 1 point, which makes sense to me because that's how it is in the playoffs. So
I like that more because, like you were saying, the Devils had no chance to catch back up, just based off of the points. Because if they won 4 of their matches in a day, but the other team still won 2 doubles, that's 3 points the other team was getting. But
right.
now, if you win 4 matches and the other team only wins 2, you win the game day and they get no points. So you have the chance to make a comeback and stick around for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay. What do you think about something we talk about the draft and everything, and how long have you been on? You're on the Warriors still, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So how long have you been? I know Benny had been on with the Chargers for 3 straight seasons, and he had to switch in the draft and everything. What do you think about that when you have these guys switch different teams? I know it takes a little bit of adjustment period to get used to everybody and everything, but do you like the guys switching teams each season?
I do. I do. I think it's good to definitely have some core guys on teams. Like when you think of the Cyclones, you think of Manu. When you think of the Renegades, you think of Gaucheri. So I think from a fan perspective, it's probably good to have some guys that are on each team. That's like the main guy. But I do like it because especially if you are playing with a doubles partner and say you guys haven't had a great couple seasons, it might be a nice change for both of you guys to
Right.
maybe get a new partner to play with or a change of scenery on a new team just with different personalities. I think it's sometimes beneficial for people. And for me, my first 2 seasons I was on the Chargers, and then the next 2 seasons I was on the Devils, and then the last 3 seasons I've been on the Warriors.
So will
It's
you
good
have
to see
to
some
switch
difference.
teams after this season?
Sorry?
Will you have to switch teams after this season? Now will you?
No, that's one thing that we have in the draft is that the one division players, they can be locked on the team forever.
Okay.
If the owners want that.
Okay. I got you.
But every other division, 2 through 6, you can only be locked for 3 seasons. And then you're open to go into the draft. And obviously a team can redraft you if it gets to that point. But you can't be frozen on the team.
Okay.
But it's also good to have different guys coming in and seeing different styles, and obviously being a veteran, you can give them some tips and whatnot. But one guy that stands out to me that joined your guys' squad this year is Alex. I remember he caught my eye last year because I think he was on the Devils last year.
Mm-hmm.
That dude, I was watching one of the matches, and the dude kept jumping off the wall. And I'm like, and the announcers were talking about he's getting higher every single time he does. I hadn't seen anyone really do that, and he just kept going back. He just was wild out there. It was fun to watch, but I bet
he's a very quick, snappy, aggressive player. Yeah, and it's good because I'm not really that. I'm more of like a laid back, kind of slow, just like traditional player, and he's very snappy and fiery, and so it's good to have a mixture of that on each team. But yeah, he was a good addition. I think the thing that we've struggled with on our team for the past few seasons is not having enough top level front quarters. It was me, and then we kind of the front court was usually the 5th and 6th division, and we had a lot of back quarters. So that was our plan with him. Picking him in the 2nd division was to add another top level guy. And he's a really good player. I'd rather have him on my team than have to play against him. So
hey, there you go. There you go. That's the biggest compliment you can have right there, man. Well, how do you guys feel about it? How do you feel about the season so far? Like you said, you guys have had 1 loss and 3 ties so far, but still very much in the mix. Only got to make it the top 4 to get those playoffs. How do we feel about the season going forward, man?
Yeah, feeling good. Like I said, I think we started off slow, but I think we're starting to turn it around. Just keep fighting every single game day. Like what I was saying, at least getting ties. Hope, obviously the goal is to get wins every game day, but if not, try to play well, get ties. At this point in the program, it's hard to get wins. Every win is hard. So as long as we're playing our best and we're tying game days and winning, I think at the end of the season we'll have a chance for the playoffs. And I think for me personally, I oddly enough, statistically, I haven't been off to a great start, but I think that I'm playing the most confident that I have, especially in doubles, because I've always been a good singles player. Just the way that like years ago, the format that we played in the parimutuel side, it was more suited towards singles. So I had a lot of singles practice before we started battle court. And I think going to the front court, because I used to play the back, and so going to the front court and just having that adjustment took a little bit of time for me. And now I think I'm starting to finally feel that confidence in doubles, which is good. So hopefully moving forward, it stays that way.
You guys play this Friday?
We do. Yeah, we play against the Cyclones.
The Cyclones. Okay.
Cyclones.
Okay. Yeah. The website's being updated, so the schedules, I couldn't look at the schedule. So Friday, okay, Cyclones. That should be a good one. That'll be a fun
It'll
one.
be good. It'll be a good test for us. We played them last week and we tied, so I think that it'll be good to see if we can get a win. I looked at the matchups and I forget exactly all the matchups, but it's going to be a tough day for us. So I think if we can come out on top this Friday, it'll be a big confidence boost for the team for sure.
Yeah, we preview every game all season long, and I swear maybe it's just because we know. Like, this is our second season covering it, right? Maybe we just know it more, but I swear every time we start previewing, I tell Cricket, I'm like, man, we've got some good matchups today. Now that we start knowing you guys, the players and whatnot, it feels like which is kind of nice with just being 6 teams. You really get to know the players, know the teams.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's going to be some good highlight today. Like we're going to, there's never a bad match.
We've got an eye for this stuff now, man.
Oh, I know. Yeah, no, it's now we're at the point where the play is so good and the talent level is so high that every match is hard. Every match is going to be difficult to win. And I hope that we're putting on a good show for the fans out there.
And there's some days, like I think we had, I think it was yesterday, it might have been the day before. Like you'll look at for the betting markets that we look at, it's like every match, it's like heavily, like it's heavily favored one way. Like they're big favorites, and we're always like, there's gonna be an upset. These guys are too good. There's gonna be this. And even if they're a heavy favorite, it doesn't mean they're gonna blow them out. It might be 6-5, 6-5 or something. Like it's good highlight, and there's gonna be an upset somewhere.
That's
100%. 100%. There are some teams that are really good, like Gonaga and Flores in the 5th division.
They're solid.
Yeah, and in the 4th division, Iturbide and Gallo have been pretty good. So there are some favorites like that, but like you were saying, for the most part, there's never the betting lines may be swayed in one way, but there's always a chance for either team to win. So
so after winning it last spring, how was it getting to watch your brother win it this fall? Was that pretty cool?
It was cool. It was cool. I was happy for him because I was like, obviously, if I'm not winning, I want him to win. So I know that he had won a few seasons ago, and he'd been playing well, but the team had a rough go for a few seasons. So to see him back on top was really cool for sure.
Now, one of the cool things I saw, man, I saw a couple. It's been a couple matches ago, but I guess we have like a taxi squad or something. So maybe if somebody gets injured, bring some of these guys up. But I saw our guy Joseph come in there, man.
Yeah.
And he made a couple big time plays. That man did a standing backflip right in the middle of the court, bro. That guy must be a hell of an athlete, man.
Yeah, that's his thing. Yeah, no, he's great. Joseph has an amazing personality. His mindset when he goes out there, he's on the taxi squad. He's always there, ready to go in case anybody gets hurt. And anytime he gets his opportunity, the past couple seasons we've had some scratches, and he's come in and he's played great every single time. And I think he's won every match that he's subbed in for us. So, Joseph's a great guy.
I was very impressed with the way he played in that match because you don't really know. You don't even know you're not expected to play that day. You want to get thrown up in there, and he has a big match. They get the win and all that. And he came in. In his interview afterward, he just said, "Man, I'm just trying to get a spot. I just want a spot to play. I want to show my skills," and I love that, man.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, like I was saying, his mindset's great. It's hard because sitting on the taxi squad, you don't get those reps. Obviously, you can
Right.
practice, but it's not the same as in game.
Right.
So for him to come off the bench like that and to play well for us, it meant a lot for us. And I know he was super happy. So
That's awesome.
hopefully for teams, they'll look at that in the upcoming draft, and hopefully he'll get a spot. So
I'm pulling for him, man. I'm a big fan of that guy already.
yeah, definitely.
Going back to the championship game last year, went down to sudden death. Obviously, Benny was in the mix with it. Did you know when he was going out there? Could you just tell that they were going to win that one, or was it just like you were just nervous as hell? You didn't know either way. Because I stand by.
Will
this
thinks they set him
that
up perfect.
I think they played Gauchieri and Arats like a fiddle. They got their ass kicked in match 2. I think they did that on purpose to kind of psych them out, and then they brought it for that one set. They just gave it their all. I think they played them like a fiddle, personally. But
yeah, no, Zuleika and Benny, I know they were locked in. You could just tell the way that they were playing, the way they were going out there to play that tiebreaker. I think because it was the same thing when we won in the spring. It was me and Nicholas played against Gauchieri and Arats in the tiebreaker for the finals, and we won 6-3. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think they may have won 6-3 also, Zuleika and Benny in the tiebreaker.
I think it was 6-3 actually.
So I think maybe that was in the back of Gauchieri and Aras's head a little bit, losing the previous season in the tiebreak. So I think Zuleika and Benny, they didn't have anything to lose.
Right.
So they went out there confident, and I think confidence is a big part of it for sure.
It's also tough too, like because they did. I think there was a 6-0, 6-1, something like. They destroyed them in match 2.
No,
so
it was bad. It was bad. It was like 6-0, 6-1 or something like that.
Yeah. And then so
remember,
it's tough to go out there like, oh, this should be cake for us, right? But then you add all the pressure, everything on. I mean, I feel like the pressure was all on Gauchieri and Arats than it was Benny and Zulaka, and they showed up. Good for them to be able to like get over that hurdle too.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like in those matches, you can't, just because somebody wins 6-1, 6-1 doesn't mean that the next time you go out there it's going to be the same outcome. In those matches,
just 100%. You see it all the time. Somebody wins 6-1 and then come out and lose second set 6-2 or something like that. You see that all the time.
Yeah, I think I think last week me and Manny were playing against Iñaki and Manu, and I think we lost the first set 6-2 or maybe 6-3, and it was on. We only got a few points because of a few mistakes that they made. Like, we weren't scoring points. It was on a couple mistakes they made, and they played really well. And in the second set, we go out there and we win 6-1. So it's just any set, anything can happen. And so in those sudden death tiebreakers, it's all about confidence. And like Zuleika always tells Benny, that you have to play the same no matter what the situation is. No matter if you're up 5-0 or you're down 5-0, you have to have the same mindset, the same plan, and you have to play the same no matter what the situation is. And I think that was their plan, and they executed it for sure.
I think the hardest thing is when you win 6-0. I can't remember how many times over us watching this, you see someone or a team win 6-0, and rarely do they win that second set. It seems like it's so hard.
Yeah, I think maybe a little bit. It's part of where people, they won the first set 6-0, and then they don't come out as aggressive in the second set because you're like, oh well, I already won a set. We won it easy, and so now maybe I'll just take a step back, and then you end up losing that second set, and now you're fighting in the third set. So I think that is, Zuleika's a veteran player who's been around a long time, and I think that's good advice for any player. You have to have the same mindset no matter if you're losing, winning, and play the same all the time. So,
because a lot of this stuff you see, man, a lot of times where the points are scored, things like that, it's because of a mistake from the other team. Maybe they just throw a shot in the wrong spot. You wind up setting a guy up for a 2-wall or something like that. So yeah, I think a lot of it's the discipline and being able to just kind of stick to your guns in this thing.
100%.
Dropping a 2-wall phrase. Look at
bro,
you.
Look at me. I know highlight, bro. I'm learning things.
Well, that's one thing that he talks about is if he throws 2-2-wall, like his thing is he's super aggressive. He throws a lot of shots. He has a great 2-wall. And so if he throws 2-2-walls out in a row, well, it doesn't matter. He'll throw a third one because that's the game plan and that's his confidence that he has in it. So, there also is the knowing when to throw stuff and when not to throw things, because obviously if you give your opponent the ball at the 4 or 5 line on the outside, now you're in a bad spot. Or if you throw a drop shot and now they have the ball at the 3 line on the inside, now you're in a bad spot also. So there's knowing, and that was a big part for me with the transition to the front, is knowing when to throw things and when to play conservative. And so, yeah.
That's what, could we ask Benny, man? I think a lot of people just expect, like, why don't they just throw the 2-wall every time, man? It looks like a perfect shot. And I'm like, because it ain't that damn easy to do, man.
Yeah, that's what people always say. They're like, oh, you see one drop shot score or one 2-wall score, and everybody's like, oh, why don't they just throw that every time? Well, if you threw it every time, it definitely wouldn't work. It's playing inside, playing conservative, throwing it inside, and then you snap a 2-wall, and then now the opponent's thinking about it, and so then the next time they go outside, and then you throw a drop shot, and so now the more you do these things, it opens up different shots. If you only throw 2-walls, they're going to go to the 2-wall every time.
Right.
But if you start mixing in other things, now they have this in the back of their mind, what is he going to throw? And you have to keep guessing, and it opens up the different shots to throw. So,
well, I was watching you and Goshieri play last week, man, in a match, and they were talking about, your guy Andrew was talking about that a little bit, about how you guys have to just guess sometimes, because a lot of times you're catching these, you got to use your peripheral and all that stuff, but a lot of times you got to guess on these shots, man.
Yeah, especially in doubles, you have your partner, so you have your spots that as a front and a back, the spots that you have to go to cover. But in singles, you're out there just by yourself. So if if the guy has a ball in the front at the 5 or 6 line, and he has a really good costado 2-wall, or he throws inside really well, sometimes you have to guess, because if he throws it inside, you're not going to get to it if you're standing in the middle. And if he throws 2-wall, you're not going to get to it. You can't wait to see where he's throwing. So you have to look at his body language, his feet, and you have to try to see where you think he's throwing. And you have to, sometimes make a guess.
Right.
So
it's coming fast, man. It's coming 150 mile an hour.
100%. Yeah. So that's why you have to try to make a decision on what you think he's going to throw, or what his tendencies are. Obviously each player has, certain tendencies. For Hyro, for example, he plays everything back inside for the most part. So then when he does throw a 2-wall, it scores most of the time, because
because you ain't ready for it.
5% of the time he throws it inside. So you have to try to make your best judgment sometimes.
I think we could talk highlight with you all day. I mean, this is fun. This is fun. We won't take up too much more of your morning. We do appreciate you coming on here with us and talking highlight with us, and wish you the best of luck this Friday, my man.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on again.
Yes, sir, buddy. You come back anytime, man. Good luck the rest of the way. Have a good rest of the season, brother.
You too. Thank you, guys.
Yep.
All right.
Have a good one, buddy. God, I love talking highlight.
I love talking highlight, bro. I know 2-walls and costadas and cortadas and tortillas and everything, man. Let's go.
Yeah, people might